would you say there's a difference between a bad trade and a good trade gone bad?
And one of the best things I ever did really early on.
What made a quality trade? I call this the trade postmortem. Sounds bad, like somebody's dying here, but
A term we use in successful investor all the time.
I'm glad you have the microphone, because you're the first person I was going to go to, because it is a term we use. We teach this thing called a postmortem. So maybe you could explain to everybody out there what it is, what is a postmortem, and why is it important?
Well, the predicate is that we have an established process for analyzing the market direction, analyzing what stocks we want to buy and when we're going to sell them, right? So that begets a set of rules that we adhere to keep our emotional selves at bay and make this an intellectual process, right? Because emotional decisions are usually fraught with errors. In the postmortem, we have a trade that either worked really well or maybe didn't work so well. But the postmortem says, well, let's go back to that trade and reconstitute it. What was going on in the market? Did I have my signal? Was there follow-through? When I looked at the individual stock, was it in a rising trend? Did it have solid fundamentals? When I finally closed the trade, did I follow my exit rules, or did I freak out because I had 2 red bars and I closed it early just to find, in hindsight now, that the stock pulled back 5 days and then bounced to the higher high, and now I'm mad, right? So the postmortem is doing 2 vital functions for us. Am I actually keeping this intellectual an intellectual exercise and applying my rules, my methodology? And secondly, is that methodology still viable? Right? Is it still working? Which I'm not going to base on one trade, but so for the trade post-mortem, it's really, did I follow the rules? I recognize that even when I follow the rules, if I'm a 50% win percentage, that means I'm losing half the time. It's okay to have losses. And in fact, if I have a loss, but I adhered to the system and kept my emotional self at bay, that's a win. That's a successful trade, even though monetarily it may not have been, right? Because ultimately, this is a game of probabilities, not about being right or wrong. So my system, through my analysis and through backtesting or even trading experience, and we have over 30 years of this system, right? The system tells me that the probabilities are on my side, and all I'd have to do is consistently apply them, and ultimately I'll be successful. So did I do that on that last trade? Did I do that on the last 6 trades? Okay, there was a sell-off and a rotation out of these AI trades, and I had 6 losers and 4 winners. Did I manage those trades correctly? Did I stay consistent with my methodology? If so, then markets have bad turns, and next time I get a signal, I'm coming back up to the plate and just applying the system. Over time, it'll work out.
So I'll ask Jerry a follow-up, almost like it might be a summary of what Todd just said, but would you say there's a difference between a bad trade and a good trade gone bad? Or a good trade that didn't work out?
I think that, like Todd was saying, if you follow the rules, then what happens afterwards is out of your hands. We do the same thing in our swing trading group. We Steve and I both take trades, even if we don't take the trades, and we suggest, or what we call queuing up trades for our members. We'll always revisit them the day after, the week after. We do the same thing, and I use the same term, post-mortem, because was the setup correct? Did you follow the rules? Did you wait for confirmation? Did you have your stop loss in place? Do you know where your profit target is? If all of those things are in place, then nothing you could do if the trade goes wrong. But if it's a bad trade, if you lose money on a trade, hopefully you didn't do anything wrong on the front end. It's just the trade didn't work out.
While we were sitting, it looks like you wanted to add. So I had another follow-up for you too.
I'm gonna throw out maybe a shocking number, right? So like when you're an investor and you're holding stocks for the long term, your success rate should be really high. If you have a product like VectorVest where you're buying money makers, you should be landing somewhere between 60, 75% success rate on those trades. somewhere in there. Even if it's on the low side, you're going to do well. Whereas as a trader, you got to get comfortable with losing trades. My overall success rate for the last 20 years is probably, last time I checked, I'm hovering between 44 and 46% success rate. But then there's how you manage the trades, and you can still make 30, 40, 50, sometimes 100, 120% a year with a 46% success rate. And so it's not all about, did this particular trade work well or not? It's about consistently applying the techniques, and money management discipline is where you make the money. And so, that's the way that I would address it. And one of the best things I ever did really early on, I can't remember if I got this from Dr. Alexander Elder, Trading for a Living, or not. I got it somewhere. Might have been just one of my mentors. I can't remember who. And it's going to seem a little odd maybe these days to do this, but I would still encourage some folks to do it if you're really interested in learning a lot more about yourself, is the day that you take a trade, print out the screen, and on that printout list all the different reasons why you took that trade. As many as you can possibly put down there. And then when you sell that in the future at either a profit or a loss, doesn't matter which, put down all the reasons why you got out of that trade. Mm-hmm. And what you may not learn very much the first time, but as you continue that discipline for a year or two, you're going to learn some of the nuances, some of the things that you're going to have to combat within yourself in order to achieve what I'll call greatness, for lack of a better term. In order for you to get the kind of reward that you ultimately can get from the stock market, you got to learn where your battles are for you. And that's the best way that I was able to discover, that I was really hyperactive. Mm-hmm. And I still battle that today. And anybody in our trading room would tell you, I'm usually early. Like, I'm never late. If anything, I'm early, both on the entry and the exit, and that's where my battle is. And so, anyway, that's what I would say.
Yeah, we all have battles. While we're actually sitting here, I was reminded of a book that our founder, Dr. Bartolito, had us all read. I believe it was called Quality Isn't Free. Is it Quality?
Yeah, I
Quality
think that's right, yeah.
And people are always saying, what makes a quality diamond, or what makes a quality this or quality that? And quality was actually, did it conform to the requirement set? So while we were sitting here, I'm like, that's exactly the same thing for trading. What made a quality trade? Well, did it conform to the requirements of the trade? Then, yeah, it was a quality trade because it met all the rules. And going back to some of the things you said, by having those things, and you do the postmortem, you could see, all right, well, did I follow all the rules? And if not, where in the chain you broke, and you could just fix that. But if you don't have that, you have no way of going back. The fix is do it, follow the rules.
Yeah.
Because I don't know about you guys. I think I know about you guys, but myself, you always had these trades where you're like, oh, I couldn't have been wrong. You blame somebody else. It's if the Fed didn't make this decision, or if whoever president's in the White House, if the president didn't do such and such, or you find somebody else to blame, because it can never be yourself.
Yeah, it's human nature.
Yeah. So by having these things, it almost sets it apart from the emotional. Like if you have this set of requirements, it's like, all right, it's the system. Mm-hmm. I'm following the system. And then I think going back to what you said, if you find that you have a string of losses that is outside the norm, then would you say you just revisit the system and say, is my system broken and not the trading?
Well, I think one of the interesting things Steve was alluding to is the time frame that you kept that journal. Because markets cycle, right? We have cycles of volatility, we have cycles of slow growth, we have cycles of fast growth. We have inflationary cycles, we have deflationary cycles, we have amazing financial interventions that keep us running in 30-year bull markets, right? Product of the 70s, I remember double-digit inflation and double-digit interest rates. This is not the norm, right? So by having a longer time frame, then you don't get caught up in this current time frame and scuttle the whole system because it didn't work now. And so we have this saying that we use in Successful Investor is, okay, if you determine through your analysis of like 30 trades, not one trade, that your system needs to be modified for the current environment, think about it in those terms, right? I'm going to make changes here that'll work over the next 30 or 300 trades, not just improve these two, right? Because we want to think more cyclically, more of kind of a macro time frame, unless you're going to only invest for the next year and a half or so.